Ah, family, one of the most beautiful things that you can have in this life. You ever looked at grandma and grandpa and thought, you guys worked so hard, now you're retired, you got all this money, I should just take it? Well, apparently the lady that we're going to be talking about today decided to just yank a good chunk of the retirement from her mom's portfolio. Thought it was nuts, thought you guys would think it was crazy, so without further ado, let's get into it.
Nice rack and her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million.
Alright, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. Here's yesterday's comment of the day. Appreciate everybody that comments, hits the like button, all that good stuff. So, the person who sent me this story today was working at an ice cream shop downtown in the city he lived in, and you would think that's like a pretty chill job, pretty boring, not a whole lot going on. Such a boring shift, you might start a fight club with your employees and try to knock each other out with waffle cones, whatever floats your boat. But this particular ice cream store was insanely popping. It had been there for a very long time, like 70-something years, so it had kind of become a bit of an institution in the city. And especially on the weekends, it would be like line out the door for 8 hours straight, which sounds super stressful to me. That's not my vibe. Like, if I have to do a job like this, I'm hoping it's as dead as humanly possible. Maybe that's just because I'm lazy. Maybe it's because I just don't like to do work like this. I don't know. But the person who sent this to me absolutely loved it because the tips were huge. Because it had been around forever, like a lot of people that had great childhood memories in this ice cream shop had gotten older, gotten a little bit of money, so they'd come in, leave a huge tip. Oh, back in my day, my grandma used to bring me in here, and ice cream was only half a penny. We used to cut pennies in half with shears during the Great Depression. Everybody loved a half a penny. Then you're like, all right, man, here's your vanilla scoop. Get back on the dementia bus, Grandpa. Anyways, the manager who was in charge of like the store during the day when people were working was actually the founder's granddaughter. It was a family establishment. It hadn't been bought out by some huge place. Like, it was making a lot of money. It's not like it was some small mom and pop place. But they had kept it in the family, and the manager's mom was the lady who owned the store, but she didn't really want to be at the ice cream store 8 hours a day. She had worked really hard to like keep it running, so her daughter was now the manager and she just kind of hung out, did some other business stuff. And what's mad unfortunate is usually when you try to keep it in the family, the person who founded it works hard, the person who gets it after that works hard, but by the third or fourth generation, the person just doesn't have any idea of work ethic whatsoever. And this manager was no exception. She was a terrible manager. Any chance she would get, she would like throw employees under the bus. If a customer was mad, instead of just making whatever they were mad about right, she would go out of her way to embarrass employees and make them look guilty for whatever the issue was. Like, if someone didn't like their flavor of ice cream, she would call out an employee and say, see, I told you that flavor was dumb, because each employee got to pick a flavor each month that they wanted to be at the store. Which just sucks. As a manager, you gotta understand that you're in charge. You can't be going for everyone's throat over small things, especially throwing people under the bus for things as dumb as someone not liking a flavor of ice cream. Yeah, believe it or not, if you have a line out the door 8 hours a day on the weekend, at some point, some people are not gonna like a few flavors of ice cream. It'd be like if every time someone commented on my video and was like, I don't like this, I just stopped what I was doing and cried for 17 hours. Yeah, okay, people like don't like YouTube videos, it happens, but she would go out of her way to make employees feel bad. And if it got insanely busy, like it was always busy, but if there was a huge rush or whatever, and a lot of people were getting impatient, and there was a lot of people who had paid and were waiting on her ice cream, or their ice cream, instead of like taking the chance to step up and take charge and make everybody get organized, she would literally go hide. Imagine that. It's an insane rush. You don't really know what to do. You're not the manager. It's not like it's your job. You just need a little bit of direction to keep things flowing. You start looking around for your manager and you just see them literally running out the back door to go hide until the rush comes down. And then she would come back after the rush and take all the credit for it. Like, great job, guys. We did an awesome job. Wow, that's a whole lot of we. You're saying a whole lot of we, but when I was watching all the work go down, it was a whole lot of me, you know? But that's the way the nepotism ball bounces sometimes. Every now and then you get really lucky a company stayed in the family for like 40 generations, everyone still works hard. But usually it's something like this where the manager got their job because they're the granddaughter of a founder and they don't really know what's going on and they won't get fired because what, they're gonna fire their kid? So they just do whatever they want. But that was the experience that they had with this manager. But since the tips were so good, they just dealt with it and kept working because it wasn't like they were going to have another job where they could make more money doing anything easier. But one day, it was just him and the manager working on like a weekday after school, which wasn't insanely busy. There were people coming in and out. But compared to a weekend, it was relatively dead. And he's just doing some work on like a few of the ice cream machines, maintaining them, cleaning them. And he sees this customer come in and just place a little small order. And it was like $4 or something, so he just pulled out a $5 bill and handed it to the manager. The manager said thank you, printed the receipt, and the way that this particular restaurant worked, it had a really old system because it had been around forever and they just hadn't upgraded it, is like if someone paid in cash, you had to take the receipt and put it in with the cash just so they could keep track of it. And his manager looks around and doesn't think he's paying attention, and he sees his manager just pocket the receipt and pocket the cash. And he's kind of shocked because this is just her stealing from the store that her family owns. It's literally like stealing from her mom. And he's even more confused because he's like, wow, she's just straight up hiding the receipt, hiding the cash, the way she did it. It was not the first time she had done it, but he was hoping he just saw something wrong. Maybe he's just making stuff up. Maybe he doesn't like the manager. He's just imagining things. So he just says like, all right, whatever. I'll keep an eye on it, but I'm not going to confront anyone and say that I saw someone stealing if I'm not 100% sure about it. You don't want to jump to conclusions like run over there and just accuse someone of doing something they didn't do and then they look at you and prove you're crazy and now you lost your job because you accused the owner's daughter of stealing money. So he's paying attention, and for the rest of the shift, whenever somebody would pay cash, the manager would take the receipt and the cash and put it into the pocket. And it started getting busier towards the end of the day, but he was paying attention. And he doesn't know an exact amount of the cash that she threw into that pocket, but it was at least over $1,000. As I said, this place gets poppin'. And a lot of their clientele was older. Older people tend to pay with more cash. And every time somebody was paying with cash, she's just throwing it in her pocket, man. Whatever bank she was going and depositing this in probably thought she was a drug dealer of some sort. Like, dude, this lady comes in with $1,000 in cash every day. Something's off, right? And when we ask her what it's from, she says, don't worry about it. I didn't steal from my mom. Kind of a weird response. Should we look into it? And the guy at the bank's like, nah, don't worry about it. Who cares? Even if they do find out, they'll fine us less than we made for it. But yeah, he basically watches the rest of this shift as she's pocketing all the cash. And when there was a huge rush, she went out back. He had to handle it, but he like looked out this back door that he had. Or they had, sorry. And he sees her out there counting this cash out of her pocket. So she's not even ashamed enough to like steal it and wait till she gets home to count it out. No, she seriously off rip is out there in the back smoking a cigarette while she left the other employee completely alone to handle a rush while counting all the money that she just stole from her mom. That just sounds like a character in a movie that you would make fun of because it's so over the top. You would make fun of the writer like, oh yeah, sure, someone's that evil, they'll steal from their mom and then abandon someone to smoke a cigarette and count the money. Yeah, what's next? They're gonna steal candy from a baby? I wouldn't even challenge this lady to steal candy from a baby. She'd probably do it. If you're willing to steal thousands of dollars from your own mom, I'm sure like candy from a baby doesn't even cross your mind. Yeah, no issue. Who cares? If I want it, I'm gonna take it. So he, as she's out and the rush ends, goes over to the cash register just to see what's up and is flabbergasted by how greedy she's been about stealing. You would think that like she maybe just took some money to pay for lunch or whatever. She had taken all of the cash for the day, literally all of it. So whereas like 20% of the business used to be cash transactions, when she's manager, at the end of the day when they're reporting it all, there was just magically no cash. And I'm sure in her head, she thought the system was perfect because she was taking that little receipt. So in her mind, she's like, there's no way they'll ever be able to tell that this was even sold. What she didn't think about, though, and I don't think the subscriber even thought about it, is I feel like a lot of places check based on inventory versus profit. So they can calculate the margins of like, oh, we sold this much vanilla, we made this much, this is our margin on vanilla, da-da-da-da-da. I don't think they're really like, wow, Oop, all the ice cream is gone. Let's just order more. We're not going to do the math on how much money we made on this. Eventually, they're going to figure out that they're selling a lot of ice cream and not making as much money. But she thinks that she's the smartest lady in the world, so I'm sure in her mind this was the perfect system. There was no way anyone would ever find out that she was robbing her own mother. But even if no one would notice, it can't feel good to go spend money you stole from your mom. I don't know. She probably felt good about it. She was up in Best Buy picking out a new MacBook every day. The guy's like, hey, where's all this money coming from? How about you mind your business and sell me a laptop, all right, buddy? You don't worry about where I'm getting the bands from. And for the next week, he basically just watches her take things, and he's having a huge battle in his head about what to do about it. Because on one hand, he does want to tell his boss, he does want to keep the store doing well. She is taking a lot of money. On the other hand, do you really want to be the person that gets into a he said, she said with the owner's daughter, the founder's granddaughter? Do you want to be in a situation where it's your word versus hers? Probably not. Because it's not like she's going to come out and say, yes, you're right, I have been stealing tons of money from my mom. If she's already stealing money from her mom, she's probably super cool with lying to cover it up. But he doesn't really have to worry about it because the owner, the mom, sends out a text to all the employees saying that they are going to have a serious meeting that Thursday. And he was at work when they got the text, and as soon as the manager reads it, she starts freaking out. Going around asking everybody all frantically, oh, what do you think it's about? What do you think this could possibly be about? Oh, why do you think we're having a meeting? Do any of you guys have any idea what it could be about? Because I have no clue. I have no idea why we could be having a meeting. Just being super nervous, which made it obvious to him because he knew what was going on, why she was nervous. If someone's calling a serious meeting and all staff has to be there and they don't usually call serious meetings, I wonder if it has anything to do with the massive amounts of money that's been going missing. It's kind of making everybody a little bit confused on why she's so nervous because literally no one else was. Because no one else was taking money or anything. Everyone else was just thinking maybe they were going to be opening another location, maybe they were going to be redecorating or something. No one else's mind was on them being in trouble, them being fired, anyone taking anything, because it's just not something anyone else had noticed. It was just that this guy happened to see it one time, so he started paying attention. It's not like usually he was paying any attention. He was just doing his thing, working on the ice cream machine, getting ice cream. He wasn't usually 20/20 eagle-eyed vision watching what everyone does with every transaction all the time. But she's freaking out, continuously asking everyone if they should just ditch, oh, we just don't have to go. And everyone keeps telling her, no, it's okay. It's just a meeting. It's not that big of a deal. But how nervous she is, you would have thought it was a team skydiving trip. Everybody at the ice cream store was going to have to jump out of a plane with a parachute and through the power of teamwork slow themselves down enough. That's not what's going on. It should just be a meeting unless you have something to be mad nervous about. But whatever, the day of the meeting comes, everybody comes in and is sitting there, and the manager is literally sitting in the front row, so nervous she's shaking, biting her fingernails. And the owner comes in, her mom, walks to the front and says, listen guys, I really hate that we have to be having this meeting. If I had it my way, this would never have to be an issue. I'm very, very disappointed that it has to come to this. I don't know who it is, but I know that someone is stealing. And before she even launches into what's been stolen, how they know it's been being stolen, it's obvious she's about to keep talking. She wasn't done with what she was saying. Her daughter stands up, the only person to stand up, and very loudly is what? Someone is stealing? No way. Who would dare to steal from you, Mom? Are you kidding me? This store that my grandpa opened, someone is stealing from it? I can't believe this. Who would do this? And the mom literally stops her and says, can you sit down? I'm not done yet. But everyone is kind of slowly having their eyebrows raised because she keeps way overreacting. No one else jumped up and started screaming. You're the only one doing that. At least let the explanation finish, someone's stealing. For all you know, your mom was about to say, someone is stealing spatulas. You didn't even let them finish the sentence and you're already acting like you had nothing to do with it. So the mom goes on to explain that They had been ordering a certain amount of ice cream and making a certain amount of money for a long time. That had magically stopped, so they started looking into it, and they thought it was odd that the cash was just always gone recently. Yeah, that would probably raise some red flags. You've been making a certain amount on the ice cream that you order. All of a sudden that stops. You start looking into it, and all of the cash is missing for like weeks on end? I wonder what happened. Do you think everyone on the planet just magically stopped using cash, or do you think someone's taking it? Unless you're dumber than Patrick Starr himself, you can probably surmise that someone's taking it. Especially because this place was older and cash was always like a solid chunk of their business. It's not like it was steadily going down for a while and then stopped. It went from like $20,000, $30,000 a month in cash to none very, very quickly, like an insane drop-off. So someone has very evidently been stealing cash, but the mom doesn't really know who it is. She didn't have any camera set up to watch like the backside of the registers, which is dumb. They probably should have had that, but she explains that she's gonna have to put cameras back there just to watch what happened, and she felt bad about doing it. She didn't want anyone to think she was invading their privacy, but she had to figure it out. Which is a super nice owner thing to even be worried about. Like, if I owned a store, yeah, I'm 100% putting cameras behind the registers. Not because I wouldn't trust my employees, but like, if someone's gonna rob you, they're gonna walk up to the register. That's probably just where you want a camera. But I don't think you owe anyone an apology if people are taking money and you're like, I have to figure out who's stealing money from me. But she goes on to explain that it's a very big deal and she has to do this because whoever's been taking money had stolen a little bit over $52,000 from the store at this point. That's a hefty chunk of change, ladies and gentlemen. That's not like a little $5 cone of ice cream that you take on your way out on a Friday. That would still be wrong, but you know, it's harmless. $52,000 is a lot of money, but it's especially a lot of money to steal from your mom, bro. Do you want her to retire? Do you want her to be able to, like, I don't know, go on vacation in her old age? Really out here taking like a full year's salary of the average person from your mom in the span of like a year because you just want it? I'm shocked they didn't figure it out sooner. It seems like their accountant was lagging behind if it took until $52,000 for anyone to notice. But whatever, the manager still doesn't come clean. She doesn't take this moment to be like, wow, I didn't realize how much money I've taken. It's gotten really out of control. They just keep their mouth shut. And the subscriber keeps expecting them to come forward, which was probably dumb on their part. It's not like they were going to come forward. Whatever though, over the next few days, the cameras are getting set up, and none of the employees are really that mad about it, because how could you really be mad about it? It's a really understandable situation, and even if you are really mad about it, like, go ahead and freak out. They're probably going to put the cameras in anyways. But the manager actually is who starts getting really, really weird about the cameras. Isn't that bizarre? She starts trying to, like, rile up all the workers to get mad about the cameras, but it's not working. She gathers them all up and is like, you guys think that this is okay, that they're going to invade our privacy like this? And everyone says, well, the other parts of the store are on camera, so I mean, it's just like one more part. And it makes sense, someone's taking money. And then someone said, yeah, and I feel safer if they're on camera anyways. And she's just going off about how she can't believe that they would be so okay with being on camera all the time. And I just feel like living in the 21st century, outside of your house, just assume there's a security camera somewhere recording a part of what's going on, like whether it's your car, whether it's your elbow. Like, there's just so many cameras, so many places these days. Chances are you're going to be under surveillance. And on top of it, if the rest of the restaurant and rest of the store is under surveillance, I don't know, having a camera on the register doesn't seem that weird, but she can't get everyone all riled up to hate the idea of the cameras. And you would think once the cameras get installed, she can't get everybody to get on board with hating the cameras for no reason, that she would stop stealing, because you're going to get caught now. It's literally inevitable. If you're on camera behind the register, you can't take money from the register. At least that's what most people with like a smart thought process would think. I guess most people with a smart thought process just wouldn't be stealing in the first place. But whatever, she did not have the ability to stop for some reason and decided to throw it all away to just keep taking this cash. And I get that it's a lot of money, but eventually she probably would have just inherited the business anyways. But no, instead, she just kept stealing, and the cameras recorded what the cameras recorded. And one day, her mom comes in and confronts her in the middle of like a slower day. There were still some customers in the store. She comes in and starts yelling her daughter's name, which I'm not going to say, and starts saying how could she steal from her, and like, didn't she know that she was going to get caught? The cameras were there. She couldn't believe her own daughter would steal from her. And instead of being ashamed and embarrassed and apologizing or like showing any regret whatsoever, she just goes off about how she doesn't get paid enough, so she had to take matters into her own hands. Alright, if you don't like how much your mom's paying you, go have a conversation about it. Don't start stealing. And you definitely don't need to steal $52,000. That seems a little bit excessive. Oh, I'm just trying to make ends meet by stealing 52 grand. What ends are you trying to meet, dude? A car payment? Like 9 car payments? I just don't understand. So the mom starts getting mad and is like, you're not even going to be apologetic about it. I can't believe I raised a daughter that would be so ungrateful. You're fired. Duh, you have to fire someone if they're stealing from you. You can't keep someone on board if you can't even trust that like all the money that you make that day is going to go to your pocket. But she starts arguing with her mom about being fired and says that her mom can't fire her because she's her daughter. Last time I checked, that's not an official rule. You can definitely fire someone if they're related to you. It doesn't matter. And you could 100% fire someone for stealing from you if they're related to you. Theoretically, she could have had you, like, arrested. If she really wanted to, she could have called the cops. They would have come and arrested you and put you in jail. The fact all she was going to do is come scream at you in front of some customers and fire you, you should count your lucky stars and leave. But of course, once her daughter starts being like, you can't fire me, I'm your daughter, she goes off about how, if you're my daughter, why would you steal from me in the first place? And she's still refusing to leave, saying that this job is all she has and she can't fire her. And at that point, her mom's getting pissed because it's just causing a scene in the restaurant. So she threatens to call the cops, and she's like, you can't call the cops, I'm your daughter. I don't know why she thinks that just, makes everything null and void. All right, guys, if your dad steals a bunch of money from you, you're just out of luck. You gotta let him take it. But finally, once she threatens to call the cops, she starts running, like trying to take off to get out of there so she won't get in trouble. And the doors were push doors, right? So it should have been very easy for her to run out. But she runs up to the push door, goes to pull it, and then keeps running. So she might be the only person in the world who has ever managed to clothesline themselves by trying to run out of a push door. So she just smacks into the door. Something out of like an animated movie where they hit the glass and kind of down the side, but she pops back up and is like, I'm leaving, and opens the door and sprints out. And the mom starts looking around at all the workers who are standing there slack-jawed watching at like this Maury episode going down while they're trying to have a normal day of work, and says that like she's sorry and she's gonna give them a little bit of a bonus for having to watch that. And they're like, no, we're sorry. Can we help with anything? She says no, but she's going to have to look for a new manager, and like she's really sorry about having to put the cameras in just to find out it was her daughter. She never expected it, and everyone is being nice to her. Like, yeah, we understand you never expected your daughter to be stealing money from you. So anyways, she goes to the customer, she kind of makes it right with them. I'm sorry you had to see that. And some of the customers are pretending like they didn't find it entertaining, all right? Like, that was insane, come on. I'm not saying it was nice. I wish it would have never happened. But if I walked into an ice cream store and witnessed that go down, I would be like, I will come here every day. If you promise me something that nuts happens, it would make my job so much easier, you know? Like, I just go to this one place and every time I go there, someone just gets caught stealing and gets ran out of the store. I wouldn't be good for business, you know? But it would be entertaining for the videos, that's for sure. So whatever, after a couple more weeks of deliberation, the guy who sent this to me actually got promoted, so in a weird way, it was kind of good for him. Not good for anyone else, like destroying a family's never good. But if you decide to steal from your mom, don't stop stealing once she puts in cameras. Steal $52,000 from your mom and then get mad when she catches you. Don't apologize, say whatever, I'm your daughter, you can't do anything about it. It's kind of on you, like it's 100% on you. I just wish she would have never done it. Anyways, that'll do it for the video, guys. I just thought that this was an insane story. Hopefully you enjoyed. I've been on the grind with the long videos, so if you could reward me with a like and comment, I would appreciate it. If you're new, you should also subscribe. I've been on the daily upload grind. I plan to be on it at least for the rest of the year. So subscribe if you're new, turn on those notifications. And if you like the story times, but you would rather listen to the audio version, I do post it on Spotify, link down below. Along with that, you can find a link to the intro song. And over on my third channel, Scrub A, I've been doing this I've been doing this podcast where I kind of react to stuff, talk about weird news. So if you missed the old reaction stuff I used to do, you can go check that out. Just search Scrub A on YouTube, it should pop up. But yeah, on that note, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and I'll see you guys next time with another video. I'm out. Peace.